God, my friends.
Hello, folks. Tonight is lesson 167. There is one life, and that I share with God. Is 12 paragraphs long. We'll do 2 paragraphs at a time, and we'll do our best to finish in an hour. And I'm glad to see that Wendy's already ready for this class. With
That's
her.
right. Oh, sorry for the yawning. I didn't realize my mic was on.
All right. Yeah, I have that effect on of course, Miracle students. Okay.
You should take it the other way, which is I'm exhausted, but I was like, I still want to go to the class.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and read the first 2 paragraphs. Okay, the title, There is One Life That I Share with God. Paragraph 1. There are not different kinds of life, for life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death because God created shares his life. There is no death because an opposite of God does not exist. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. In this world, there appears to be a state that is life's opposite. You call it death. Yet we have learned that the idea of death takes many forms. It is the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, and suffering and pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown acknowledge death, and thus deny you live. All right. Hey, Dee, we're doing the lesson 167, and A Course in Miracles, 167. And Nori, 167.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, paragraph 1 and 2. Okay, any comments or questions on paragraph 1 and 2?
Yeah, that last part's a little rough. A sigh of weariness, acknowledge death. I mean, I just gave a huge yawn of weariness.
Okay, let's start with the title, okay? There is one life, and that I share with God, okay? So, if you want to experience what your life was meant to be, you have to see it through love's lens, God's eyes, okay? So that is the one life that you share with God. But to share it with God, you have to look upon it as God sees it, okay? Um, Let me go. Do you have a sentence number or a paragraph number, Wendy, that you were asking about?
Well, I'm using the Kindle, but if you just go to the second paragraph, the very last sentence starts with all sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering and pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death and thus deny you live. And
Okay.
that is pretty strong.
Okay, just think of it of this way, okay? There's one way.
Watching
Hey, Alan, it's lesson.
ACIM meeting.
Yeah, it's Alan. It's lesson 167. 167.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So that sentence number 6, paragraph 2. Okay. This is just sharing with you certain tools of the ego which lead to viewing the world through the ego's lens, aka death lens. Okay? So if you're feeling sorrowful, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, weariness, that's acknowledging that you're viewing the world through the ego's lens. And so if you're viewing the world and your life through the ego's lens, you experience death. Because you see yourself as a body that returns to dust. Okay? And so here in this sentence, this is sharing with you, hey, if you feel sorrowful, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, weariness, it's because you're looking at the world through the ego's lens, not love's lens. And that represents the path to death, the path that returns dust to dust, instead of the path of love, which is the eternal path, which is our true path. Okay.
I haven't fed the other cats, just Gracie.
Okay. Say hi to Gracie for me. Okay, let's see. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 1 and 2?
Okay, I do, but I'm not trying to be a contrarian, but I still do have the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I remember Mike saying something like to deny the body is a most unworthy form of denial kind of thing. Like to deny that you have one. And maybe I'm misquoting it. Mike's here so he can say so. But essentially he always says the same thing. If a punch is coming, duck. If a bus is coming, jump out of the way. Like, we live in our bodies. My thinking when I think about this is I'm going to be happier when I recognize myself in spirit and that I want to get as close to that as possible, but not that I could ever, I am not my body, I am free. I mean, if we're in pain, if our bodies hurt, like, if something like that, you can't deny that that is there, it's there. But that's why it bothers me to call that death. I don't, I think it's the wording, but to call that a form of death, it's like you said, the only purpose of time is to heal. And part of the way that we're put here or imagine ourselves here or whatever is in a body. So when I read stuff like this, it like causes dissonance in my brain because it goes against what's experiential. If I just walk around saying I am spirit, I am only spirit, and my body's in pain and I'm hurt and I'm in, it's just it doesn't I don't know what to say. It almost feels like then I would feel guilty. Like, oh, I'm acknowledging my body. Dog, I don't need this right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like as if I'm not supposed to acknowledge that I have a body. And that to admit that you have a body here, it says is death.
It's a path to the misperception of how you should be experiencing your life. Okay, so if you don't like the word death, just switch it up to the ego's way of viewing the world, the ego's mindset. Okay, don't get stuck in certain words. Okay, we're talking about this specific lesson. Okay,
Okay.
and this specific lesson is simply dividing it into two parts, into seeing your life as one, meaning you see your life as God sees it, as God created you for you to experience it, or viewing it as you've been programmed to see it through the ego's lens, through your past programming. That says that sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, that all that stuff is truly real. Okay? And so if you're an eternal being, right? Yes, in the duality of this physical world, you can suffer, but you suffer mostly because you've been trained to react to certain situations with the emotion of suffering. If you understood that everything is here for your good to help you grow, heal, and awaken, you would suffer a lot less. So you see, suffering is just a fabrication of the ego. It's for those who just came in, it's lesson 167. There is one life that I share with God. And so don't get stuck in the word.
Okay. Well, it actually matches the Course in Miracle cards that you gave me. I take one out every day. And today's was that the lessons will keep coming back to you until you learn to do it right, kind of thing. So I was like, well, all right, here it is again.
All right. Paragraph 1, sentence 4. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. Okay, so God is love, right? God is all. What is the opposite of all? Nothing, right? So there is one path, that's the true path. So what's the opposite? If God is all, if God is love, if God is truth, what's the opposite? A deception, a lie, a falsity, not real, not true. Okay, so there is no, in reality, there is no opposite to all. There's all and there's nothing. Okay, so here you're saying there's really only one path for you. It's either this path or the nothingness of the ego's path, which leads you nowhere that you want to be. This is going to be a slightly complicated, but stick with us. Okay. Paragraph 1, sentence 7. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. Again, this is saying that you and we are eternal, just like God is eternal. Okay. So God is eternal. God created us. So we must be what God is. So we are eternal. Of course, we all understand that if we play here in the physical realm, our bodies are disposed of after we've used them for what we needed them for. But here in the bigger picture, it's saying there is no death because an opposite to God does not exist. Okay, so you are eternal just like God is. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 1 and 2? And just another mention about what Wendy's sentence was. It starts with sentence number 5 of paragraph 2. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, and suffering and pain, a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort of the merest frown, acknowledges death. So all of the ego's tools acknowledge death. Okay. And so if you're using any of the ego's tools, you're going down the path where you do not belong. And so don't punish yourself for that. Just recognize, okay, I'm experiencing anger. That is not a path where I belong. Let me stop putting my energy into that path, align with the mind of God, and choose an alignment with love. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 1 and 2? All right. Would somebody like to read 3 and 4?
I will.
Thank you.
You think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can be then applied as mind directs it, but its origin is where it must be changed if change occurs. Ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course has placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind about yourself. It is the reason you can heal. It is the cause of healing. It is why you cannot die. Its truth established you as one with God. Death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. It is the belief conditions change. Emotions alternate because of causes you cannot control, you did not make, and you can never change. It is the fixed belief ideas can leave their source and take on qualities the source does not contain, becoming different from their own origin, apart from it in kind, as well as distance, time, and form.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on paragraph 3 and 4? Okay, let's see. Paragraph 3, sentence 2. Yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. Okay, so all the work that you need to do is not out there, it's inside your mind. Okay, so the way to choose the path to God, the path that you co-created with God, is by making the choices that lead you to that path. So it's telling you here that the work resides within you, not out there. And why is this good news? It's good news because if it resides within you, then you have the power, not the outer world. Okay? You have the power to change your experience. No one out there. And here says paragraph 3, sentence, I think 4. But its origin is where it must change. Its origin is the mind. Its change occurs. And then it says in sentence number 6, ideas leave not their source. Okay. So, okay, imagine yourself, imagine you talking to your college friends, okay, from long ago. And then you share a story with them about something that happened in your life, right? Now you shared the story with them, and now the story is with them, okay? Now they know the story, but the story is still inside of you, okay? So you share the story. Its origin is ideas leave not their source. So you share the story. Others understand the story. Now others have it, okay? But you're still the source of the story, okay? Now imagine God. God created you, right? So God is sharing you with the world, okay? You are through love expressing Him on this planet, right? But you have never left God, okay? So see here it says ideas need love, leave not their source. So you have never left God. You're not apart from God because you have never left God, even though you're here, sharing love, sharing AKA God on earth. Comments or questions? Paragraph 3 and 4. Okay, paragraph 3, sentence 8. It is the reason you can heal. It is the cause of healing. So if the idea of death and sickness is in the mind, then the idea of healing must also be in the mind. Okay, so you can go on the path to healing or on the path to death, on the path to sickness or health. It's all within the mind. If you took yourself towards sickness, you can take yourself towards health. If you're walking on a path away from source, away from love, you can bring yourself back on the path to love.
Doesn't this also refer to the idea of projection? That we project our ideas out, the things that we don't like?
Yes. Okay. Any projection that you have, where is its source? Its source of your projections are you, right? So whatever you see out there, it's a belief inside of you. Okay. So you're projecting those ideas. So that projection, that picture of the world, is showing you what you believe about yourself and others. And so that's why the proper response when we're walking on the path to God, right, is gratitude to the outer picture of the world, because the outer picture is showing us the beliefs that we carry within us, be they love or unloving, be they love, which is healing, or unloving, which is of sickness. Okay, so when you're starting to see and define the world, offer it your gratitude because it's showing you an external picture of your internal condition and conditioning. Okay? So the ego is always going to have you judge your brothers or sisters, what they did, said, thought. But in reality, you're supposed to offer them gratitude because they're just showing you what you believe is true or not true. Okay? So it's supporting the path to having a life with God or away from source with the ego. Any other comments or questions there? Okay, paragraph 4, sentence 1. Death is the thought that you are separate from your creator. Again, when Wendy was talking about death in certain terms, we're going to use death here as a symbol of the ego's mindset, okay? So you can replace death for any of the ego's tools, okay, in this line. You can replace it for anger, resentment, hate, jealousy, fear, anxiousness, doubt, worry. So let's say here says death is the thought that separates you from your creator. Anxiousness is the thought that separates you from your creator. Anger is the thought that separates you from your creator. Despair is the thought that separates you from your creator. And so you see, all of the ego's tools, in quotes, separate you from your creator, because in reality, you cannot be separated from your creator, but you could think that you're separated from your creator, okay? So when you're choosing the ego's tools, you're thinking, you're creating a fantasy that you're separate from your creator, and then you wonder if you're worthy of your creator because you're in this fantasy. But the only reason that you wonder why you're worthy of your creator is because you're in the fantasy that your own thoughts have created. Okay? So that sense of worthiness is simply a symbol that you have bought into the ego's fairy tale as real. Okay? So all of the ego's tools, in quotes, separate you from your creator. And what we're trying to do in this lesson is unite with our creator. Okay? Think in alignment with source so that we can be love on earth in each moment, situation, and interaction. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 3 and 4? No? All right. Again, this lesson is a little complicated, but just let's stick with the basics of what this lesson is trying to offer us. It's trying to show us which is the path where you're supposed to be walking on, which is one with source, seen through the lens of love in each and every moment in interaction, and which is the path of the ego that leads us to a, in quote, separation from God, which means you'll feel sad, despair, unfulfilled because you're walking separate from source, unconscious as that may be.
I have a question.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Can you feel both at the same time? Because I both love and both frustration and anger. I had a situation yesterday with I'm renting out a property, and long story short, they came, they signed the contract, they put the electricity under their name, they gave me the money, and then they left, and a half an hour later the husband calls me. He actually wasn't there to he had seen the place, but he wasn't there for the contract signing or any, and he sees, and he told me that he needed to retract his the whole contract, the whole deal. And because they offered what I guess it doesn't even matter why. And I mean, obviously I was disappointed. I was frustrated. He didn't seem very caring about it. It was just very matter of fact. And so I had to accept it. And I had a choice whether I was going to ask him for money, or I mean, I could have done a whole bunch of things, but I chose to do the most simple thing, is to, of course, not of course, but give him his money back, and that's it. But I was up and down with it. I was frustrated, I was angry, and at the same time I understood. And I just came from giving them their money back, and I wish the lady well. She was very embarrassed. She didn't even call me. She had her husband call me, and he was there, and he didn't even really look at me or say anything. And I was like, I'm just going to, I'm going to be kind and just do what needs to get done, and offer them, whatever, like, have a good luck with everything. And that's what I did. But I still feel unsettled.
Okay. Okay. In this lesson, or we're talking about, there is one life that I share with God. Okay. So how do we apply that lesson to this situation? Okay. Very simple. You have to view your experience either through love's lens or through the ego's lens. Okay. If you view the world through the ego's lens, you're gonna feel disappointed, frustrated, and angry. Okay. So what is that showing you? It's showing you that you lack faith in your Creator's plan for you. Okay. If you were to choose to see the same exact situation through love's lens, your response to that would be, fine, okay. You know,
It was, but it goes back and forth is what I'm saying. I mean, there was a piece of me that accepted it, but then I went in and out. So
well,
there's some trust, but it's
Yeah,
just not all there.
yeah, the Course in Miracles is a little more black and white in that sense.
Oh,
It's saying either you view the world through love's lens and you're not going to experience disappointment, frustration, and anger, or you don't. Okay. So if you're experiencing any disappointment, frustration, and anger, it is simply because you've chosen to trust the ego instead of God. Okay.
that's very perfectionistic.
Yep. Because there's, like we said before in the start of the class, there's God, who is truth, right? And what's the opposite of truth? Illusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
God is all, right? What's the opposite of all? Nothing. Okay. So yes, the ego is always going to be a really wise fisherman in the lake in his little boat with 100 lures, looking for the right lure for the right fish. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the ego. Oh, you can be a little frustrated here, a little angry here. You know, that's okay. That's okay. You can live that way. You're not supposed to live that way. That's not the way you're supposed to live. You're supposed to live each moment, interaction, and situation in alignment with the mind of God. That's what we're here to practice doing. Again, time is for healing. There's no judgment in your decision-making process, okay? There's no judgment. I'm just sharing with you how the Course in Miracles would invite you to have peace, to have true peace, not the ego's BS peace that might last for a second or two. True peace that is not affected by anything in the outer realm. Okay, that's what we're trying to work towards. How can we have peace no matter what happens here? How can we choose peace in every situation? How can we trust God in every situation instead of the stories that we've been taught? Oh, person X didn't buy the house in the end. I should feel so despair or resentful or whatever the ego says. 100,000 little lies. Okay, so yes, it's a little black and white, a little true and falsity. But if you start to think about it, think about, wow, could I teach myself how to have peace no matter what happens? That's what your soul really wants, because that's what God created you to be and share. God created you to be and share the light in each and every situation. Okay? So you were there. Your true purpose in that moment was to be a light, was to be a light. In this case, it could be forgiveness or compassion or understanding. That was your main mission in that moment. And if you were to fulfill that main mission, you would have true peace. And at the end of the day, you would have an increased level of trust in God, and you would be solidified, build your house on rock instead of sand.
I attempted it and I did have some peace, but like I said, I went in and out, and I get your black and white, but that's
It's practice.
Yeah.
Like Mike always says, it's practice, practice, practice.
Mhm.
And so what did that brother and sister really help you do? They helped you today. They helped you today practice.
Mhm.
Practice deciding that if I choose to trust God instead of this situation and how it turned out, then I can have peace.
Oh,
I have the final decision making.
yeah. I get it. No, I get it. I get it. And I think he really helped even more, just like ignoring, like not even saying anything to me. I was like, okay. Just testing a little more, teaching me a little more No one needs to tell me anything. It's an inside job. I mean, I get it. I get
Alright.
it.
Yeah, all right. Any other comments or questions to paragraph 3 and 4?
Yvonne, I wanted to add, I went through a similar situation. And what helped me basically get out of it is exactly like I always do. Ask for a holy instant, try to see this from another point of view. That truly helps. At that moment we don't understand, why things happen. But whenever I ask for a holy instant and ask the Holy Spirit, please let me see it from another point of view, I always been answer.
Mm.
So if you may feel again this feeling, because in my case it comes and goes, sometimes per day, sometimes it's just a couple of hours. But if it comes back again, the feeling, because I can truly understand you, just go ahead and ask for a holy instant and say, please, I would like to see this from a different perspective. Right now, I can give you the perspective of I've been in that shoes, renting properties and people backing up and so on. And sometimes you feel like, wow, man, I wasted my time. I did this, I did that, blah, blah, blah. Basically, at the end, probably something really bad was gonna happen, and God gave you this way out. If you're dealing with this kind of people, then you will be expecting anything and everything to be happening in that place. So see it from the point of view of this. Okay, God, you saving me by doing this, saving me of headaches later on.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Amen.
That makes sense. And teaching me how to let go, because that's
Yeah,
always.
that's right. That's right. And I'm there with you. I had the same situation. So everything that that James said to you, I am applying it to myself right now at this moment.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Any other comments or questions on 3 and 4? If not, would somebody like to read 5 and 6?
I'll read.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on. Let me get this. I have, sorry, a bug. Okay. Death cannot come from life. Ideas remain united to their source. They can extend all that their source contains. In that, they can go far beyond themselves, but they cannot give birth to what was never given them. As they are made, so will their making be. As they were born, so will they then give birth. And where they come from, there will they return. The mind can think it sleeps, but that is all. It cannot change what is its waking state. It cannot make a body nor abide within a body. What is alien to the mind does not exist because it has no source. For mind creates all things that are and cannot give them attributes it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of mind asleep.
Okay. All right. Paragraph 5, sentence 1. Death cannot come from life. Okay. So this is the idea that death, aka death and all the ego tools, right? They cannot come from the everlasting life, from the eternal, from God. Death cannot come from eternal life. Okay. And so ideas remain united to their source. So death, being an idea of the ego, remains with it. Okay. So there's ideas of the ego and there's ideas of God, of the eternal. And so just always think about what thoughts you're thinking in the moment and where do they come from? Is their source the ego or is their source God? Is the source death or is their source the eternal? You belong here. Okay, align with the eternal thoughts, not with the fabricated thoughts of the ego. Any comments or questions on paragraph 5 and 6? I know this lesson's a little complicated, but we try to simplify it here.
I have a question. Um, so when I think of death, I think it's like personally for me, if it happens, it's great because I know I'll be united with the creator. It's love. It's better than this life. It's like uh there's no problem. And and for me, the life now is like full of problems. It's like death. Like death is better than the death that I feel living in this life. So so it's good. I'm awake to the reality, the truth that death is beautiful. However, I feel I'm not awake because I'm bringing death into my life. So my question is, uh, yeah, it's like a there's the duality in the mind, but also this desire for death. Sometimes see, uh creates something it's not also good. So yeah.
Yes, practice, whenever those kind of ideas come to mind, practice trusting God more, okay? Because if you were meant to be dead, if God needed you in heaven, he would have you in heaven, okay? So he has you here on earth because you have a job to do, okay? A job that you signed up for, consciously or not. You signed up for this, okay? We all signed up for this time on earth. We all were happily in heaven, right? But we heard a call for help and healing from this world, okay? And we thought, I can help here, or I could help here, or I could help here. I can help with people who have depression. I can help here with people who have addiction. I can help here with orphans. We all have our spot in life, right? Where we are here to bring light into the darkness. So start seeing life as truly the gift from God to you that it is. God is entrusting you with whatever your place in life is. That's an honor. Okay? It's an honor if you're just whatever, if you're just helping one person. That's an honor. God placed you there. It's an honor if you're a policeman and trying to help people out. It's an honor if you're a doctor or an accountant. Okay? They're all an honor. So practice loving life. And death will come at the perfect time. Okay, it always comes at the perfect time. If you ever study near-death experiences, they're sent back with the same saying. It says, hey, it's not your time. And they send you back, no matter how rough it's down here. Whatever accident you had, if it's not your time, you get sent back. Okay? And you get sent back because God needs you here, not there. When it's your time, be happy when it's your time, but be happy now that you have life. And let go of the ideas of death, because those we're trying to stick with this lesson, so we're not trying to get esoterical. But if you start to love death too much, you invite the spirit of death, which is not a nice little spirit to be around you. Okay, that causes depression and anxiety and all those kind of things. So learn to love life. Learn to let go of the idea of death. That's not for you. Death is not for us, not now. It will be someday, but not now. Okay? Learn to appreciate where you are in life and be grateful. Wherever you are in life, practice gratitude instead of thinking about how wonderful death will be. You're here to be the light of the world, not the shadows, not the darkness, okay? We're in lesson 167, 167. Okay, let's see. Paragraph 5, sentence 8. And where they come from, they will return. Okay, so sooner or later, all false ideas, aka all of the ego's tools, will dissolve away once you begin to awaken to who you truly are. Okay, so the more you awaken to who you truly are, the less these ego tools will affect you. Okay, the more you practice choosing in alignment with the mind of God, which is love, the less the ego tools will have. Thank you, Mike. Oh, 43 already, huh? Okay, will affect you. So remember, the more I focus on loving thoughts, the less power the ego has over my thinking and thus my life. Okay. And this lesson here is there is one life that I share with God. Okay. So the more you're able to consciously choose loving thoughts over unloving thoughts, the more you share the life that you came here to share with God. And so the work is in here. Comments or questions on paragraph 5 and 6?
Okay, I have one,
All right.
but it's more personal than on the paragraphs.
All right.
So I'll give you an example. Just because that one thing is so specifically in the second paragraph I said, in the paragraph I read that talked about anxiety. So you and probably anybody else who goes to Sunday's Miracles know that I started to have panic attacks. And while the panic attacks are gone and I could not be more grateful, anxiety persists. And as you know, because we've had a talk about it, I don't always even know what I'm anxious about. It just sort of, it could be because I used to have panic attacks. It could be because maybe I'll have another one. It could be anything. I'm not very clear on that, but I know that I have not gone back to the peaceful state that I was in before I got them. And I don't know how to use this, and I told you it's like ironic because I'm teaching my students all the time about dealing with anxiety and mindfulness. And even today I had a student who was like, I was worried because I wrote this thing in there that you would take off points, and I said, sweetheart, you're going to torture yourself all the time if that's what you let yourself do. And I told the whole class, your ego runs your mind. It's telling you all kinds of negative things all the time. You're very young. If you learn this now, you're going to be a lot happier in your life. You don't have to wait till you're in your 50s like me. You can have counter thoughts but that's when you recognize what the thought is. I have a problem because I don't recognize what the thought is. It's a feeling. So if I say I can choose peace instead of this, I don't know what this is. It's a bodily feeling. So I would like to get the peace back that I had before all of that started, but I feel stuck. Like this says, you'll feel like things outside of you control you. I'm like, well, I feel like something inside of me controls me, but it's from the body up, not the top down. And we've discussed this before, but I'm serious because I actually feel bad when I read this stuff because I'm like, I don't even know how to get in alignment then, because I don't have a thought to go to counter. So the only thing I could think of to do is to say, Ruach HaKodesh, which is what I've told you means the same as the Holy Spirit in Hebrew, be with me. And that's it. That's all I know how to ask for. I don't know anything else to ask for. And I'm upset because I used to be peaceful and now I'm not peaceful a lot of the time because of this. I am ready for my free therapy. Please go.
Okay. Just just have a little grace with yourself, okay? And anytime the thought or the feeling, as you say it, the feeling of anxiety comes to mind, don't punish yourself. Don't give it more time, focus, or energy, because that only grows that feeling. Just practice catching yourself as soon as you can. whenever that is. If it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, whenever it is, practice catching yourself and coming back to your mind and saying, okay, the thoughts in my mind are keeping this thing alive. Okay? So stop placing your time, focus, and energy on those thoughts and place them on the thoughts that say, I'll put this in God's hands. The more you put your burdens in God's hands, the less anxiety you will have. The more you trust God, the less anxiety you have. And it's just a continuous practice. Anytime anxiety comes, use it as a trigger to go to God and place that anxiety in God's hands and remind yourself that because God is perfect love, He has your back and all will be okay. Okay, God is in control. God is in control. Love is in control. Perfect love is in control. Why? Well, why do you need any anxiety if perfect love is in control? Okay, so just have a little more grace for yourself. If you feel anxious, fine. If anxiety comes, fine. I will tell you other things, but you wouldn't be able to use them because you wouldn't want to use them. like if there's in the Christian, let's say in this Christian aspect of this kind of situation, you would tell the spirit of anxiety in Jesus' name to depart from you and go to the abyss and return no more. And you would say that with full confidence. But since you don't work with Jesus, then you can go ahead and work with God and say, God, please, here you go. So just have a little grace for yourself and just keep on practicing trusting God whenever those anxiety thoughts come in. And I know you say it's a feeling, a body feeling, okay. But once your mind is keeping that anxiety thought, keeping the energy there, try to take this energy back and put it in God's hands. And little by little, you'll start to see, you know what, whenever I put it in God's hands, I have a little bit more peace. And little by little, you'll start to put it more and more in God's hands, and you'll have less and less worry and anxiety.
Well, I just try to tell myself it's just anxiety. It's not a panic attack. So be grateful for that.
Okay, that's some baby steps. Baby steps.
No, really. I'm like, I don't have panic attacks anymore. I just have anxiety. That's way better than panic attacks. So that's how I try to, just say.
Yeah, you took a step forward. You go from panic attacks to anxiety because you're trusting God more, consciously or unconsciously. Okay, so little by little, you can go from rough anxiety to less rough anxiety by, again, practice trusting God more, remembering that God has your back, that all will be okay.
Well, I think that's the part I have a problem with because of what happened to me, and I lost so much peace over it. Now I have doubt that I didn't have before. I used to feel like I can always get back to peace, and now I have doubt. Then that's what makes me unhappy.
Yeah, but whenever you have doubt, just place it aside because that's not the life you're supposed to be living. Okay, so when you have doubt, place it aside. You know that that's not an energy that leads you to the path to be in alignment with the mind of God. Place that aside whenever the first second you can control the thought of doubt, place it aside. Say, God, I trust you. I bring you in. I fill you myself with love and light. Like you like to use the breath. I fill myself with your breath, and now I have peace. I choose peace.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? 5 and 6.
Wendy, I'm happy for you. You mentioned that you're grateful.
James didn't even pick up on that.
No, he didn't, but I did, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. Just allow your body. Remember, don't kill the messenger. The feeling is there for a reason. Don't kill it. Allow yourself to feel it. Be grateful. Okay, thank you, God. I'm feeling this. Let me go through it. Show me, please, what I need to see in it. And remember, the body will. The body it needs to talk too, and we need to listen to the body too. be loving to your own self.
Thank you, Nori.
Thank you. All right,
Can I say one thing too?
Yes.
Wendy, you're inspiring me. I have a test tomorrow, and 20 years ago, I could take tests and I felt very confident. Every test I've taken during this semester, I get a horrible stomach ache beforehand. So I just wrote myself a note. I'm putting it on my folder. It says, trust God during your test. I try to trust God all day long, but like when I open up my folder, I'm going to see that right away. And even though my body, I know, is going to be doing stuff, it will be a good reminder of what we talked about tonight. So thank you. You've inspired me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I was gonna say something that I use sometimes when I get anxious or and it's a feeling and I can't pinpoint what's making me anxious is I don't know if we've talked about this one day of the phrase feelings aren't facts, aren't always facts, right? And because sometimes it's the narrative or well when if I can pinpoint something and it is coming from thoughts, a lot of times it's like something that I'm making up, and it's definitely not a fact, but even sometimes I think your feelings aren't necessarily indicative of danger and that something's gonna happen. It could be from, obviously a past experience, or whatever. And I don't think you have to know exactly where it's coming from. Um, and I was just curious if like sitting with those feelings eventually, if they dissipate or not. Yeah.
Well, in thinking about it, because of the panic attacks, I started a special kind of therapy called somatic therapy, which is it deals with your body.
Mhm.
And when you're dealing with trauma in your body gets dysregulated. And so I've never had the kind of relationship with my body. I'm like, I could take a medicine that's supposed to make you feel good, make me feel horrible. I could take a medicine. This is all the time that, like I don't have enough of a good connection that I can always recognize things, which is why it feels to me like it's running very separately from my head. So in part, this could just be because I'm working on all this trauma stuff and my body's just doing what it wants to do, which is it could be delayed. Something could happen to me on a Monday, and on Thursday is when I have the reaction to it. So I should probably just do what Nori said, which is it's expressing itself the way it wants to, but maybe what you said, which is, or what James said, I don't remember who said it, but it's time limited. But when I'm having it, it gets me very upset because I remember being so peaceful before all this happened. And okay, so it's that thought, James, that's getting me upset. Since you want a thought, that's the thought. I used to be peaceful, and now I have this. That's
Yeah.
the thought. That's
And when you fight against that, it's gonna be you're gonna feel awful.
yes. Well, that would be correct. I do feel awful.
Yeah. Well, you resist,
I do that.
persist. Keep that in mind.
I do that often. Resist.
And then I
I
read
think
this
we all
lesson
do. I think
that
we all do. It's just a matter of like James was saying, catching yourself. It's gonna come to a time that catching is gonna start shrinking and shrinking, and you'll be able to have more peace.
and maybe part of the problem is the way I'm interpreting these lessons. Like that line got me so upset that said, if you have the least little bit of anxiety, you're living in the ego. And I'm like, oh, so great. So now everything that I tried to do with miracles, not only do I have all this anxiety, but now I can sit here and think about how out of alignment I am with God. You know what I mean? Like everything makes all the things that made me feel better make me feel worse is how I feel. I keep coming to miracles like I want to feel better, and then I read a line like that and I'm like, great, I'm so out of alignment with God that I'm in anxiety half the time and I'm out of alignment. So I'm not going to have my peace back. It just, I don't know. I'm feeding myself the wrong messages and I don't know how to flip them around.
okay, just practice, just anytime you have less than peace, practice trusting God. Practice using that moment to trust God more. Okay? Because here we have anxiety. Anxiety is in the quicksand, right? and anxiety comes and we want to fight against it. So how do we fight against it? We jump on it, on the quicksand, and we both end up dying, okay? Don't jump in the quicksand with anxiety. Instead, stay on the sideline and go to God.
Okay.
God, in this
Observe
moment,
it.
I'm going to
Observe
trust you.
more than experience it. Is that kind of what you're saying? Observe it more than experience it, and
Yes,
then
yes, raise yourself above the battlefield, as we
Got-
usually say in class.
Okay. That's
Third,
try that.
you go to God.
Yeah, because if I'm not in a panic attack, I do have control.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was very helpful. Everybody who just helped me, thank you. Yvonne, Nori, James, Shelby, thank you.
Wendy, have you tried deep breathing? I've tried the deep breathing, and I've also tried, I think the remark from Dr. Joe Dispenza, take the mind out of the body. So when I try that, then I take myself to the thought of, well, what am I actually supposed to do? Oh, okay, there's 3 dishes to wash. Okay, so let's take care of that. And then I'll shred or just the things that I'm supposed to do. And then I try to say to myself, okay, so I really didn't have a reason to be sad. Let me find joy in this. Or I'll put on some music, but I'll try to get away from it. But I I'm the one that I don't want to experience it.
Yeah, me either. I don't want to experience it either, but I do know a lot of somatic things. I look out the window, I watch the leaves move, I squeeze my nail bed, which is a new one that I just found about because it's supposed to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. I do breathing stuff. I do Joe Dispenza meditations. This is just because I'm doing the somatic therapy, but I think that's what the issue is. My body is going to react like this. And if I can surrender to it, like Mari once said, instead of trying to fight it and being so upset that it's happening to me. And then, like James said, think about, just focus on God and say, this is what's happening. I have to hand this over. I have to surrender to it because it's going to happen because of the type of therapy I'm in, but I need it.
My experience was I had someone coming to the house and there's certain things that bother me about it. So what I did was, from what I had experienced days before, I would come to my room and close the door and say, I'm grateful for at least she's doing something. I'm grateful that at least she's here and she's getting things done. And then I thought, wow, I feel my heartbeat is a lot slower when I'm in gratitude for what she's doing, for what she was doing.
Yeah, gratitude helps. I think to myself, at least I can function. I'm at work, I can teach. I'm not having panic attacks anymore. This is way better. So those are the things I tell myself. I'm functioning. I went to Eric's party. I danced. I'm like, I can have a nice time. I'm not always feeling like this. So I just try to remember, like I said, that I don't know. It's like I told you. If I let myself get too crazy about it, it's how come I used to be in so much peace and now I have to be like this. And it's just upsetting.
Congratulate yourself for your achievements.
There you go. Thank you. I keep telling her that every time I have a chance. Yes, she needs to acknowledge all that she has done so far, and please acknowledge that what happened with Lily is pretty recent. She left in an ugly matter, and thank God things are much better now. And it's completely normal to feel the way you're feeling. It's completely normal. Just don't kill the messenger. Allow the feeling and concentrate on, be grateful for having the feeling. And then again, like James said, trust God. But please acknowledge what you have done for yourself so far and acknowledge that it's completely normal to be feeling the way you're feeling. Is pretty recent. And I'm not a mother, but I will say that it will be pretty hard to, not having my daughter with me and having the situation and that you had with her and the way that she left the house. So please be good to yourself, be loving to yourself.
Thank you. Hearing you call me normal was like the best thing anybody said to me all day. I felt my anxiety leave my body when you said it was normal.
Completely normal.
Okay, I will finish this lesson tonight, but anybody because it's 8 o'clock, if anybody has to leave, it's perfectly fine anytime you have to leave. But I will finish this lesson tonight. I was planning it on an hour, but it's going to take a bit longer. But anytime somebody has to drop off, no problems. This lesson will be on my YouTube channel tomorrow at 5 p.m. God willing, and so don't worry if you have to leave. But yes, let's try to stay away from the stories about what brings about anxiety, okay?
Sorry.
Because stories are just stories, okay? So no matter what, the ego's going to throw at you 1,000 stories, and it's going to tell you in story A, yeah, you'll be fine in a week, and story B, you'll be fine in 3 weeks, and story C, you'll be fine in 3 months. Okay, that's the ego's BS. Okay, stop buying into the ego's stories. Okay, I have anxiety. No matter what it is, I don't care. No matter what it is, I'm going to now use anxiety as soon as I can take control of my thoughts to go to God. I say, God, I'm not going to place this in your hands. And I'm now going to choose peace. No matter what my ego is trying to tell me, I'm going to choose peace. I'm going to choose peaceful thoughts, and I'm going to choose thoughts of trust. And I don't care what my ego is saying. I don't care what my story is. I choose peace. I choose God, period, the end. Let's choose peace. Let's be warriors for God and for peace, not for the ego stories. And I'm not saying I don't respect your stories. Fine. We all have stories. Trust me, we all have 100 stories. Okay, we can all talk about it for hours, each one of us, I'm sure. But here we're trying to simplify a lesson that we can make it usable. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this usable. When anxiety comes, go to God. That's a usable fact. Okay, don't keep throwing logs on the fire. All right, so yes, anybody who's got to leave, no problem. I will finish this lesson, God willing, of course. All right, paragraph 6, sentence 7. What seems to die is but the sign of the mind asleep. Okay, anytime you're buying into the ego's tools, that simply means your mind is asleep. Okay, but do not despair, because as you awaken, as you more and more consciously choose with God, with love, the dream will start to fade away. Okay, so the more you awaken, the less you'll be dreaming. Okay, so you know how, don't judge yourself if you have to sleep 6 hours or 8 hours. Okay, don't judge yourself for how long you sleep. You will awaken. Okay, have faith in that. Practice having faith in that, and know that these little stories, little by little, will dissolve before your light and understanding. All right, any questions or comments 5 and 6? If not, would somebody like to read 7 and 8?
I'll read.
Thank you.
The opposite of life can only be another form of life. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it, because it is not opposite in truth. Its form may change, it may appear to be what is not, yet mind is mind, awake or sleeping. It is not its opposite in anything created, nor in what it seems to make when it believes it sleeps. God creates only mind awake. He does not sleep, and his creations cannot share what he gives not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. The thought of death is not the opposite to thoughts of life. Opposites of any kind. The thoughts of God remain forever changeless, with the power to extend forever changeless, but yet within themselves, for they are everywhere.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Okay. Paragraph 7, sentence 5. It is not its opposite in anything created, nor in what what seems to make when it believes in sleep. Okay. So when you're using the ego's tools, okay, a dream appears to be real while you are sleeping. Okay. And so the ego's tools appear to be real as long as you're using them. As long as you find some use in them, you're going to think them real. Okay? But when you awaken, these tools are going to be useless. Okay? So a dream appears real while you're sleeping. Okay? So you don't have to punish yourself for being asleep when you're using the ego's tools of anxiety, anger, resentment, hatred, revenge, doubt, fear, all those dreams. Okay. Yes, if you're in the dream, they're going to appear real. And if you don't know that you're dreaming, they're going to appear real. Okay. But do not despair, for none of us remain asleep for forever. We will awaken. And so we'll realize that this stuff here, it has no use. This is not what we came here for. We didn't come here for it to be anxious or angry or resentful or hateful. We didn't come here for that. That brings us no joy, no peace, no fulfillment. We came for this. We came to bring light into the world, love into the world. We came to go through that anxiousness that you might be feeling. You're going to get through it, and then you're going to learn how to get through it, and then you're going to teach others how to get through it. Okay? Nobody's judging what step in the ladder you're in. Okay? Every step is of use. So if you're in the middle steps, you're in the middle steps. It's fine. Little by little, you're getting up there to the state of peace. Okay. Any comments or questions on paragraph 7 and 8? Okay, paragraph 8, sentence 1. God creates only mind awake. Okay? You can only truly create as you were created to create. Okay? You can only create with God. That's what you're here for. Okay? So your true purpose is to create with God. So in any moment, situation, or interaction, ask yourself, God, what am I here to build, to share, to offer? And it's going to be some expression of love. And so God creates only with mind awake. So when your mind is awake, your mind is aligned with the mind of God. And so that's when you truly create. That's when you're loving, forgiving, compassionate, kind, generous, hopeful, healing. That's true creation. Any other comments on 7 and 8? No? All right. Would somebody like to read paragraph 9 and 10?
I'll read.
Thank you.
What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it is not and to assume an alien power which it does not have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source, it merely seems to go to sleep a while. It dreams of time, an interval in which what seems to happen never has occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. When the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was. Let us today be children of the truth and not deny our holy heritage. Our life is not as we imagine it. Who changes life because he shuts his eyes or makes himself what he is not because he sleeps and sees and dreams an opposite to what he is? We will not ask for death in any form today, nor will we let imagined opposites to life abide even an instant where the thought of life eternal has been set by God Himself.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Paragraph 9 and 10?
I have a question.
Yes.
James. Okay, when the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was.
What paragraph and sentence, do you know?
Yes, is paragraph 9, sentence 4.
Okay. Let's see.
When the mind awakes,
Oh,
but continues as it always was.
okay. And do you have a question or do you want?
Yeah. What is the meaning of this? It means then that if my mind, if I am awake, life will continue as it was always?
Yes, when the mind awakes, but continues as always. Okay. Remember, God is the only thing that's real and true, right? So your real and true state of mind is awake. You are awake. Okay? You just think you sleep. You are awake. You were created by God, right? God didn't create you asleep. God created you awake. God didn't keep any tools away from you that you need. God gives you every single tool that you need in every single situation. And so when the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was. So that was your purpose. Your purpose is to be awake in each moment, interaction, and situation. And you have that availability in every moment, situation, and interaction. The choice for peace is just one simple choice away. Okay? It's always available to you. It's not real. I don't have this. Okay. Does that somewhat answer that question? I know this lesson is a little complex, but we try to make it usable. Did that in any way help, or did you want something else?
One
No,
other thing,
yes.
one other thing I might say about that is remember, Jesus said that the life that we have now, the time that we seem to spend, just happens in an instant. You know, it's barely an instant, a fraction of a second, perhaps, in eternity. That the problem was solved the instant it occurred. So, in terms of eternity, we don't even notice this. We won't remember it after we return to heaven. So it's just, you know, it's non-existence. It's not even really here. So a problem occurred within our minds. God instantaneously fixed it. And instantaneously we return to the mind of God. But it seems like our lives are lived, you know, during this instant, but it seems like it's a long time to us in our bodies.
Yes, imagine time as just like a little blink in eternity's eyes. Okay, we're eternal, right? We're eternal. We're this. And then we have this little thing right here, this little minor dot. We call it time. We call it our 80 years. What's 80 years to eternity? Why are you going to suffer so much in those 80 years, thinking you're less than who God created, if you're eternal? And so you see, we live these 80, God willing, maybe a little bit more, years, and we punish ourselves so harshly for it, for a little blink of eternity's eyes, and we're eternal. And so what it's saying is, listen, take a deep breath. Everything's okay. Don't take this life so seriously. It's a blink in eternity's eye. And here you go, being depressed and punishing yourself and in despair and anxious and worried. It's nothing. It's a little moment in time, in eternity. Don't take it so seriously. Just try to be love. Just be love as often as you can. So yes. 9 and 10, right? Any other comments or questions on 9 and 10? Okay, paragraph 9, sentence 1. What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. Okay, and in the title it says, there is one life, and that I share with God. Okay, so the opposite of life, the opposite of what you experience with God, is you simply being asleep and dreaming. Okay, you see that? There is one life I share with God. And here it says, what seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. So don't punish yourself when you're dreaming. Okay? Let's say you have a bad dream. Do you get up in the morning and say, terrible, terrible for having that dream. Bad boy. It's a dream. You were dreaming. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge others. Don't punish yourself. Don't punish others. It was just a dream that you had. There's only one life, and that's the life you have with God. That's where you belong. Everything else that you do is just a dream. You're thinking that it's real. Let's see. Any other comments or questions? 9 and 10? Let's see. Okay, paragraph 10, sentence 1. Let us today be children of the truth, and not deny our holy heritage. Okay, so today, in today's lesson, our only goal in today's lesson, which is 166, is to practice experiencing your moments with God, like God would. How would God see this moment? What would God say in this moment? What would God share in this moment? And so in every moment, interaction and situation, practice thinking, what would love do now? What would love think, say, and do? And then think, say, and do only that. Okay? So what we'll do in this lesson, which is 167, keep asking yourself, okay, what would God do in this situation? What would love do in this situation? And the more you do so consciously, the more time you spend your life with God, which is what you're meant to be doing. And so when you spend your life with God, you feel joyful, you feel peaceful, you feel fulfilled. Okay? So you can experience more joy, more peace, more fulfillment if you consciously decide before every interaction situation to ask God to lead the way, love to lead the way. Imagine if you allowed love to lead the way in every situation, every phone call you ever had. Before the phone call, you say to yourself, okay, God, just say whatever you want to say. Love, say whatever you want to say, and then say that loving thing. You know, I mean, what will your day look like if you're always simply allowing love to lead the way? How much more peace and joy and fulfillment will you have if you consciously walk with God? If you consciously bring God love into every situation, moment, and interaction, how will your day look? I mean, wouldn't you begin to create heaven on earth? That's what's available to us. We can create heaven on earth. All we have to do is consciously, proactively choose it. Bring God in. Humble yourself. Bring God in. Bring God into every situation. Bring God into every interaction. When you're fighting anxiety, bring God in. Where you're feeling like judgmental, bring God in. And then God would express himself through maybe forgiveness or compassion or mercy or grace. Bring God in. Heaven or hell, my friends. It's just a choice away. You decide. Free will. I recommend heaven. Paragraph 10, sentence 4. We will not ask for death in any form today. Okay. So we will not consciously choose in alignment with the ego today. We're going to do our best today not to choose with the ego. And when we choose with the ego, we're not going to punish ourselves. We're simply going to recognize, okay, I chose with the ego. I judged my brother. I became angry or resentful. Okay, I did that. What's next? I forgive myself for my misperceptions. I forgive my brothers. Okay. I thank God for the practice of choosing forgiveness over judgment. I come back into alignment with love, and I express myself through love. Okay. That's what we do in each and every moment. We will not ask for death in any form today. So we stop the ego. When the ego is taking control over our minds, we take back control. Any other questions on 9 and 10? No? Alrighty then. Would somebody like to read 11 and 12 to finish off?
I can read it, James.
Thank you.
Let's see. His holy home we strive to keep today as he established it, and wills it be forever and ever. He is Lord of what we think today, and in his thoughts, which have no opposite, we understand there is one life, and that we share with him, with all creation, with their thoughts as well, whom he created in a unity of life that cannot separate in death and leave the source of life from where it came. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy minds which he created perfect. As we were, so are we now, and will forever be. A sleeping mind must awaken, as it sees its own perfection mirroring the Lord of life so perfectly, it fades into what is reflected there. And now it is no more a mere reflection. It becomes the thing reflected, and the light which makes reflection possible. No vision now is needed, for the wakened mind is one that knows its source, itself, its holiness.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Any comments or questions on paragraph 11 and 12?
I take it that even simultaneous to the time that we think we're having our problems here on earth, our mind exists in heaven and it's doing fine. It's asleep as far as God is concerned, which is just a blink of an eye or less in terms of God's existence. But we seem to be leading a long life during that blink of an eye.
Sentence, paragraph 11, sentence 3. And in his thoughts, which have no opposite, we understand there is one life, and that we share with him and with all creation, their thoughts as well. And so only God love thoughts are real and true. And there is no opposite to truth. His thoughts, aka love's thoughts, have no opposites. Okay, and so There's forgiveness, right? Which is a reflection of love, right? That's his thought. So that's true. In this world, we think in duality, in opposites. So we think judgment is somehow a real part of us, but it's not. Only forgiveness is. Judgment is a fabrication of the ego, a fairy tale that we have reinforced over and over again that we now think is real and useful, and so we use it. But that's not a real part of us. This is just something we've been taught to believe is real and true. Okay? So judgment is not the truth in you. Anger, resentment, hatred, anxiousness is not the truth in you. Okay? None of that is the truth in you. Only the love in you is true. Paragraph 12, sentence 1. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always holy minds, which he created perfect. Okay. So if we want to experience true life, the life that God created for us, we have to do so in alignment with the mind of God. And so if you want true fulfillment, true peace, true joy, practice choosing in alignment with the mind of God, which is love. In paragraph 12, sentence 2, I think, as we were, so are we now and will forever be. Okay. Okay. So who God created you to be will always be who you truly are, no matter what dreams you may be dreaming of yourself. And so God created you perfect. You are perfect. You will always be perfect. Okay. It's only when you think out of alignment with the mind of God that you think of yourself and you judge yourself and punish yourself and do all that stuff. So stop that punishment. And paragraph 12, sentence 4, and now it is no more a mere reflection. It becomes a thing reflected in the light which makes reflection possible. Okay, so that's simply exactly asking you to become the light that God created you to be. And by doing so, light the way for others. All right. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 11 and 12? If not, good job staying here for 90 minutes. Usually we try to do this in an hour or less, but we got into some conversations today. So today was lesson 167. There is one life, and that I share with God. And so just practice tomorrow, sharing your life with God, bringing God into every situation, moment, and experience. And notice how much more heavenly your day will appear to be. And it's simply because of the choices that you made. You made your day more heavenly. Okay? Because you are awake. And when you take a little nappy poo, and you think with the ego, don't punish yourself. You say, I guess I needed a little 15-minute nap. Let me come back. Instead of judgment, I forgive. Instead of condemnation, I have compassion. Instead of fear, I trust God more. Okay, I'm back awake. Oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the practice. Gratitude. Make gratitude your best friend tomorrow.
Thank you, James. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Oh, you already started.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
All right,
Good
thank
night.
you. And the lesson will be up tomorrow at 5 p.m. if you want to check it out again. All right. Thank you, folks.
Okay,
Good night.
Good night.
good night.